All right, determine the limit as x approaches 1 from the left of 1 over x cubed minus 1, and the limit as x approaches 1 from the right of 1 over x cubed minus 1 by evaluating values of x that approach 1, again, from the left and from the right. So here's a table of values. On the left, it's going from 0.5 to 0.99999. So that is going from 1 to the left, from the left. And here on this table, it's going from 1, starting from 1 on the right, approaching 1 from the right. So let's go ahead and put in our table. So here we have Desmos. We know we have our x column. Let's go ahead and put our function in. So we have 1 divided by x cubed, and then that is minus 1. So let's go ahead and put in our values. So we have 0.5, we get negative 1.14. 0.9, then we get negative 3.69. 0.99, we get negative 33.6. 0.999, we get negative 333.6. 0.9999, we get negative 3,333.6. And then 0.59 is there, we get negative 33,333.6. So let's go ahead and put those values in. So as you can see here, as we put in values of x, this limit, or this seems to be approaching negative infinity. So now let's go ahead and put in the values that approach 1 from the right. So we have 1.5 gives us 0.42, 1.1, 1.01, 1.001, 1.0001, and then 1.00001. Okay, so we can see what's happening with these values from 0.42 to 33,333. So let's go ahead and put those values in here. So those are the values here. So you can see here that this is actually approaching positive infinity. So the limit as x is approaching 1 from the left is approaching negative infinity. The limit as x is approaching 1 from the right is approaching positive infinity. So let's go ahead and summarize that. So again, from the table, we see that the limit as x approaches 1 from the left is negative infinity. And we also know that as x approaches 1 from the right is positive infinity. So the next part is, how do we then reason this part that we did in part A? Well, what do we know? We know that if the limit as x is approaching 1 from the left of the function 1 over x cubed minus 1, then let's take a look at the signs. We can see that in the numerator we have a fixed number, which is 1, which was positive. And then every value in the denominator was going to be negative to give us a negative result. So therefore we approach a negative infinity. Now, if we take the limit and approach 1 as x is approaching 1 from the right of the function, 1 over x cubed minus 1, well, we still have a positive value in the numerator, and we also get a positive value in the denominator, so therefore we end up getting positive infinity for that result. So now we want to also see it from the graphing perspective. So let's go ahead and graph this function. Okay, so we'll go ahead and graph this function. So we have 1 divided by x cubed minus 1. Okay, so let's take a look at this function here. Okay, so from this graph, we can conclude from what part B tells us. Okay, so we can say that as x is approaching, okay, and we can see here where 1 is located on our graph. So there is 1. So that means that we have a vertical asymptote there. Okay, and so what do we know? We know that from our graph, as x is approaching 1 from the left, we can see that the graph is going towards negative infinity. And as x is approaching 1 from the right, we can see that the function is approaching positive infinity.